we are entering into a time of remembrance. And so, a few reminders today. The story of a man who decided he wanted to become enlightened. And so he looked into all these different ways of becoming enlightened. And he decided that the story or the path that he wanted to follow was to go up into a mountain and sit in the mountain and be still and quiet until he became enlightened. And so he went and did that. He spent months, years, however, he spent a period of time on the mountain until he achieved what he thought or he believed to be enlightenment. He came back down into the city and decided he wanted to go get a drink. And so he went and got a drink. And one of his friends saw him sitting there in the pub or tavern or wherever he was and said, "Hey, how you been? What you been doing?" And he said, "Well, I went and I found enlightenment." And his friend said, "Okay. And so what have you been doing?" And his friend, he said, I found enlightenment. He said, I went and I got enlightened and now I'm back. And he said, "And so what have you been doing?" And the man looked and he grabbed his drink and he slammed it on the bar. And he says, "I went and I found enlightenment." Point of the story being that it's all fine and good to have this sense of awareness and groundedness and peacefulness and love and joy when we're sitting still by ourselves. The real work is in finding it and carrying it with us in the face of everything we do day to day. Not discounting the other path. There's a place and a time for all of that. And that's part of our journey, part of our collective journey. And for most of us, many of us here, the task is to bring our awareness, our presence, our enlightenment to the day-to-day, especially in those moments when we might feel a little bit challenged, when our presence we may feel a little threatened in our presence. We may feel a little questioned, or like the man like the man sitting there having a drink saying, "Well, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, I found enlightenment. What do you think?" And then he says, "Okay, now I understand." It's not just when it's easy, it's when it's challenging that makes the difference. And so we enter into this time of remembrance, Samhain, or it's spelled Samhain. It's commonly referred to as Samhain, but the Celtic pronunciation is Samhain. And it runs from October 31st to November 2nd by the current calendar. And it is the time of the harvest. It is a time of remembrance. It's a time of honoring the ancestors. It's when the veil is thinning and we have this energetic access to the other side, so to speak. We have access to the energy. We have easier access to the wisdom, so to speak, where we're gathering in the goodness of our lives, recognizing it, acknowledging it, being grateful for it, and so much more. I did a bunch of reading about all the various thoughts and approaches around this last couple of weeks, and it's all just wonderful and magical. And remembering that, back in the early days, thousands of years ago or so, it was very much about honoring all of life, the seen and the unseen, both. of recognizing the presence of beings we may not be consciously aware of presences out there that can assist us, guide us, support us, celebrate with us this time of growth, the time of reaping the harvest and beginning to get prepared to plant the seeds of something new. And so as I was thinking about all of this, and we're talking about the theme of prosperity we've talked about this week or this month. And we talked about self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves. We talked about our thoughts becoming things, thoughts all coming together to manifest the experience of our lives. We talked about the dominant Ernest Holmes talking about the dominant tendency of our thinking, not just any one particular thought, but the pattern of thinking that we hang on to. We talked about a couple weeks ago, Reverend Joe was talking about, how we get these sneaky little thoughts of lack. How if we're chasing prosperity and abundance, there's a subtle thought in the back of our mind that says we don't have enough. Imagine that. Imagine that. And then last week we started talking about gratitude because we are entering into that season of gratitude for the year, right? Starting with All Hallows Eve or Samhain, Halloween, moving into Thanksgiving, and then into the Yule season, Merry Christmas time, and all of that. You see, there's a whole pattern to it. We still embrace the pattern. We still embrace the pattern today that was set up so long ago. Conscious of it or not, right? We're still following the same pattern. It's a seasonal thing. So it's a season of our lives. And so as I thought about this, I was like, okay, what is the message in here that I can embrace, that I can kind of put it in simple terms for all of us, something that we can all relate to in some way, shape, or form. And what I thought about was the harvest, right? Because the harvest is just one part of the pattern. The pattern starts with preparing the soil, right? We prepare the soil. We turn the soil over and over and over. We turn the weeds under. We till the soil and prepare it. That's just like cleaning and clearing our consciousness. We start looking at what are the limiting thoughts that we may be holding on to. Am I good enough? Do I have enough? Am I enough? Am I worthy? Am I lovable? Well, of course we are. Of course we are. Sometimes I know it's hard to believe. Sometimes I know it's hard. I've had those days. I had a day yesterday. I had a very transparency and vulnerability. Yesterday was just a chaotic day for me. I don't know what it was. I got up and I did my thing, and I went to sit down to work on the talk that it was like, this is like pass number 5, right? Of my mind map of what I'm talking about today. It was, and I got to the end of the day. I said, you know what? I'm just going to watch TV. I'm going to set it down. I'll just get up a little extra early tomorrow, and I'm just going to go do something else because I felt like I was pushing the river. And I'm not one to push the river. I've been doing it for hours. And finally I said, nope, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. And I got out of my own way. And as soon as I got up and I got into my rhythm this morning, everything came together. And what I found was I was so full of ideas, so full of thoughts, so full of stuff that had not allowed time for things to just settle. And isn't that the way it is sometimes? We just need to allow things to settle just a little bit, and things will come together. And so often in our lives, when we are preparing for something new, I don't know, some of you may be like me, maybe. I need more data. I need more data. I need more information. I need to gather more stuff. I need to read more. I need to learn more. I need to do another workshop. I need to listen to another speaker, listen to another podcast, read another book. Da 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 da. Stop. Stop. Go live your life. Sure. Learn, grow, pray, meditate, hire a coach, whatever. Have a minister. Go, make an appointment with a practitioner. Daniel, come talk to me. Come talk to Jill. Whoever. Find somebody to talk to. Live your life. Till the soil. Prepare yourself. Because it doesn't stop. It's not like you prepare yourself, you plant the seeds, you compost, you reap the harvest, and it stops right there, right? It's an ongoing cycle. It's a cycle that repeats again and again and again and again. And certainly we have perennial gardens. We don't have to replant every year. They just reseed themselves, right? Those are the things in our life that we have a sense of mastery over, right? You can think of it that way. I have a mastery over taking care of my car. I have a mastery over making sure I have the right clothes. I have mastery over cooking my meals. I have mastery over my finances being in order. What are the areas you have mastery over in your life? They can always be improved, certainly. And that's the ongoing care and tending to that perennial garden of our lives. Those are the areas I have mastery over. And the other part, the other piece, are those new areas that I want to plant. Those new areas that I want to grow or learn. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's a sense of well-being. Maybe it's better relationship with my family, better relationship with my children, better relationship with my parents, better relationships with my friends, a better job. What are the areas that I need to, say, dig up the weeds and plant something new in? What are those new ideas that I want? And it's not like we're eliminating things, because we never really eliminate anything, right? Because we pull those weeds up, and where do they go? In the compost pile. We reuse them. There is no waste in a healthy garden. Nothing is ever wasted because it just gets reused. We pull up the weeds, we trim the plants, we prune them back. Even the fruit trees get trimmed, and we use that wood for something else. We always find a use for it. Because what? Because it's all God. It's all an expression of the divine. It's all an expression of what's the current parlance, source energy, right? It's all source energy. It's all an expression of God, because there is only one. And it is in this one that we live and move and have our being, and it in us, and as everything around us. So we get to have gratitude for it all. Gratitude for the clothes. Gratitude for the watch. Right? Gratitude for my bracelet. For the music stand that's hiding under all of this. Gratitude for the person that made the music stand. Gratitude for the phone. Gratitude for somebody who thought this thing up. Gratitude for the person that thought up the case that I put around it to protect it. Gratitude for the person that created the process that enabled us to have the case to protect the phone. You see, we stack it one on the other, on the other, on the other. Gratitude for the seat I'm sitting in, for the floor I'm standing upon, for the nice young man that probably finished the concrete, which is underneath the carpet that's on the floor. Gratitude for him. Gratitude for the car I drive, the food I eat. Gratitude for the fact that I am even here to be present with all of you. so that we can have this experience together where you bring your wisdom, I bring my wisdom and experience, and we share together in all of this, and not just the people here in the space, but the people out here in internet land. For all we know, there's somebody in Great Britain watching right now. It's quite possible. I was talking with a friend in Great Britain this morning, and I said, yeah, I'm speaking later this morning. She could be watching. We don't know. Well, we may know. She may be saying hi in the chat right now over there. I don't know. Reverend Jill was on earlier. But how amazing is that? And we can be grateful for all of that. And grateful for even the things that are challenging in our lives. I'm grateful for the experience I had yesterday of chaos. Because I learned something in that. It was a bit of a wake-up call in that. And I got to share that with you. So I'm grateful for that. This is a time of gratitude. And every day there is an opportunity to have that same gratitude. I believe gratitude, living in a space of gratitude brings us into a place of grace. Living in a place of grace. Because if I'm grateful and thankful and appreciative of everything around me, then that it says that I am open and available for something greater than that even. For this or something more. Because there is this constant process going on where I am not only moving forward, but I'm growing and expanding in my ability to experience the goodness that life is, the goodness that is available, the abundance of life that is available to me. Because if I am grateful for this, there is more. This and something more. This and something more expanded than my current experience. Because it is a flow. It is not a fixed point. It is not a fixed point. As I manage my garden, I grow my garden, I manage my crops, you see, and every year, in the midst of each and every cycle, I have the opportunity to expand the space that I plant. I get to expand my field. I get to expand the space in which I dance with spirit to create my life. Because it is a dance. It's a dance I'm doing all the time. An ever-expanding dance with spirit that I get to live day in and day out with each and every one of you. So let's take the opportunity today to not simply carry that sense of enlightenment where it's all safe and secure and snuggly in my little hidey hole, or in my quiet little space on the mountainside. Let's carry that out into the world. Because that is the way I expand my experience. And that is the way I expand the experience of life for everybody else around me too. Because this good that we experience, this sense of peace and joy and love that we have with each other, is something to be shared. It is something to be grateful for. And when I'm grateful for it, I have to share it. I don't think I even have a choice. Because gratitude is something that is not just felt, it's spoken. And when it's spoken, it's experienced. And experienced by me and experienced by those around me. Because they just feel it. We don't have to say anything really. Because our presence speaks so much louder. And that power and presence of gratitude is something that will lift us up and carry us beyond where we have ever been before. So, all right. Practicing the principles. So this is my invitation to each of you for this week. So this is the only assignment this week. So if you care to, put a reminder in your phone for whatever. I put 2 hours in here. You can do it every 1 hour, every 15 minutes. Pick your cycle. Okay. So every 2 hours or more or less, if you like, to practice simple gratitude of just what's in front of you. What can I be grateful for that's just right in front of me right now? And just put a little alarm, a little reminder in your phone for every 2 hours. And what this does is it creates a gratitude habit. You create a little pattern in your consciousness that allows you to begin just being conscious and aware of being grateful throughout the course of the day. So somebody gave this little practice to me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I started doing it. Amazing. Just amazing. So just all of a sudden, I'm grateful for every little thing, which is kind of cool. And so it makes me happy, makes me smile, makes me giggle inside. So I will gift you with that for your week and just kind of report back. Let us know how it goes for you. Okay, so open mic time. Question and a yes, there we go. Q&A to any questions. I'm not promising I will have all the answers, but I will make my best guess if you want. So if you have questions about anything we've covered this morning, feel free, grab the mic, and we will take about 5 minutes or 10 minutes or however long it lasts. Carl?
Yeah, your comment about days when you have chaos, and it's like for some reason the path isn't there, and you're one thing after another thing after another thing, and then to let it, you just got to put the timeout sign up and say take a breath and let it go. And that just, to me, that just means so much. I do have a tendency to get caught up in prepping for work, and it's like when things just don't get overwhelming, you let it go, and I let it go, and I just come back to it later, and it's like things just click. So that's a wonderful. That's just like, boy, I heard you say that, and it was like I'm all over it. I'm all over it. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Cool, that's awesome. I'm glad I could give you permission to do that. Because I know, BC, and sometimes it feels like that, Carl, and I know it does. Sometimes we feel like we need permission to do that, and that's just that kind of that little 6-year-old in me that says I need permission to like stray from the path a little bit. Because for me, it even carried on into this morning a little bit. Because I have like a morning thing. I get up, I go for a walk, I go to the gym, right? And all of a sudden, I was at the gym, and I looked at the clock. I said, all of a sudden, the math went off in my head. It's like, oh dang, I don't have time to like do the full workout today. But my pattern is you get to the gym, you stay until the workout's done. That's just my mindset. And so I had to kind of work through that one so I could leave the gym early and be okay. So anyway, that's kind of follow up to that story. Any other questions? Go ahead, Denitra.
You talked about enlightenment, and that really kind of sparked something in me because, first of all, I love the word. Who doesn't love the word enlightenment? But how do you practice enlightenment around a tough group of people that may not embrace this practice, or maybe they just aren't aware of the benefits of just being kind, loving, and living an enlightened life? I mean, can you speak on that a little
Sure, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Interestingly enough, I was in a conversation about just this thing earlier this week, and what the place I've come to with it is what we were talking about is like being able to like recognize or show people showing up as looking spiritual, right? Or people assuming XYZ about me because of certain words I use, or oh, at least that spiritual guy, right? Um, what I've come to is that if I find they're not open to the conversation, I'm not having the conversation because I don't have to, right? I am not in this world necessarily for quote unquote their approval. I'm in this world to live my life, and what I find is that I will attract people. The people who want to hear what I have to say will be attracted my way, right? And I can put it out there. I can put my opinions out there, my beliefs out there, my thoughts out there. More important, what's more important is the way I show up and the energy with which I show up, more than the words I speak. So I tend to keep my mouth shut and just do what I do. I mean, not here. I could go on for another 30 minutes, but I'm not going to. Um, but you get the point, right? It's like I hate to use the old cliche. It's like what other people think about me is none of my business. Yes and no, and that's a whole other conversation. But I'm just gonna, yeah. My job is to be me, do me, express me, and let the chips fall. So, anyway, we have time for one more.
Yes. I was just thinking about when something like that happens, I find that, oh, I'm having an emotion about your emotion.
Been
That's
there.
awesome. I'm having an emotion about your yes. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so if that, then there's the whole conversation about what is the gift in this for me, right? So if I'm reacting like that, then the question is, what is the gift here for me? So thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even go down that trail with that, but absolutely. So thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for stepping up and sharing tonight or today.